This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Hey, my name is Jobby, and we're taking a look at the Big Firebird EX-01 Nicee. EX-01 definitely looks like someone's ex. You know what I like doing more than drinking my problems away?
Watching cool videos.
That's why I use Surfshark VPN.
This virtual private network that's available for
Pretty much everything.
is gonna let you browse the web through a secure and private connection.
And if you switch your location to a third world country, you can watch region-locked movies on Netflix. My personal favorite is the Michael Bay Transformers series, especially Revenge of the Fallen, a beautiful movie that made a beautiful amount of money. You could even
Switch locations to find
better online deals during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Spend! Check out the link in the description and use promo code JOBBY to get 83% off and 3 extra months free. But from today till tomorrow, there's a special Black Friday deal that's 83% off and 4 extra months free. And if Surfshark VPN doesn't make you feel as relaxed as I am, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Excuse me, sir? You can't be here if you're not wearing a mask.
What?
Yeah, it's just with everything going on, you know.
Yeah, I know. And I also know that I have my goddamn rights. Your health is not as important as my freedom. I don't need a fucking mask. But you do. Don't you? 5 years and $100 later, you'll notice that Big Firebird is just the epitome of class. Oh boy. I do appreciate them being so in your face about their intentions, which of course is pissing off Twitter. Here's a bunch of stuff we'll cover later, a card with some lovely artwork, and you get the figure herself. Oh boy. Any fan of Transformers with at least 2 brain cells will see a resemblance to the character Arcee, who by now should be familiar to you. And if that don't ring a bell, you better ring that bell. This figure actually started as a straight-up third-party version of the famous Fembot, but sometime within that lengthy production cycle, Big Firebird decided to drop that beautiful G1 styled head, which I assume was an attempt to completely sever that connection with the source material. Totally original design here, guys. Instead, we get this generically cute anime head. Now, you might find the lack of expression unsettling, and in response, you should tell her to smile. I'm kidding, of course. Rip her fucking head off and replace it with another one.
Like a real man.
I would call this a normal smiling face if she wasn't trying to sell me her bathwater. She's only sticking out her tongue because she's thirsty. Yeah, that's it. I mean, what? You've never been thirsty before? Come on. Can we please get some fluids in this girl? Please. It's been so long. And she's dying of thirst for you. Stop looking at me. Stop looking at me! Both heads have detachable faces, presumably so you could stick them on the non-existent G1 head, which should exist, by the way. I would gladly pay for the head.
I have 8.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. The figure's unique design is kinda ridiculous. In that sense, the critics actually have a case. And I'm not just saying that to score some good boy points. Keep your filthy gamer coochie away from me. It's completely true that a giant robot wouldn't have use for such giant features, and I'm definitely not opposed to feminine machines. It's just that this machine is a little too anatomically accurate. It's just a panel line. But as stupid as this design may be, I still like it. Instead of defiling an established design with weird and creepy add-ons, Big Firebird had the decency to create a wholly original design that's actually attractive. And just like any attractive woman, she's got a lot of baggage. No matter how hard they try to make the backpack look elegant and flowing, there's just no hiding this figure transforms. But even with this casual disregard for backlife, this still isn't the worst Arcee backpack. You could even pop off these ball-jointed wings and plug them into her sides. Gives her a neat skirt and cleans up the back just a tiny bit, not at all. Or you can remove the whole wing assembly to clean up the back even further. And that's as clean as this dirty whore is gonna get. Plug in this unpluggable adapter, switch out this pair of open hands for a grabby hand and a relaxed hand, plug that in and stick this included arrow between her disfigured fingers. On second thought, this trigger finger hand works better. And she'll wield this bow and arrow with no problem at all. It's a cool look if you could get it to work. The grabby hand does a shit job at holding that bow. Also, this Figma stand is not included and not always necessary. The die-cast metal in her ankle joints holds up the weight of her bullshit pretty well. You also find metal in her knees, her shoulders, and her... Jeez, Big Firebird. That's just cool. Would have been cool if you could remove the backpack entirely, like the Digivolving Spirits Angelwoman. Dead toy line, by the way. I'll never forgive you, Bandai. Otherwise, this is yet another example of how every Arcee figure is cursed with the ridiculous amount of junk in the Damn, ma! That ass can.
Condemn a man to a life of self-destructive degeneracy.
Do you fart? For an extra posing option, you get a pair of fists, and using the previously mentioned grabby hand, she can hold this long, pointy sword. Plug the shield into her arm, or the trigger finger hand, and or equip this G1-inspired gun. Her weapons create this powerful image of a battle-hardened warrior, which some might argue is undermined by her revealing design. But I would argue... me like booby. Sorry, not sorry. I just don't find sexy women inherently offensive. The only thing offensive about sexy women is that they won't talk to me. If anything, it's the marketing and presentation around this figure that feels kinda nasty. I get playing to your strengths, Big Firebird, but Jesus. And just by looking at their upcoming Magic Henshin line, you can just... smell their target audience. Fuck. This shit is why you need a VPN. And if you still have any doubts that
Humanity is fucked.
you can replace this hard plastic chest for one that's more... No. This rubbery material is no substitute. It just doesn't have the warmth or the tenderness of real female flesh. high-quality plastic and those bits of die-cast construction make a potentially flimsy figure into a solid, well-articulated piece. The range of motion here is excellent, and the joints themselves are as buttery smooth as her curves. Surprisingly lacks a waist joint, but she does have some killer legs. So not only is she quite the looker, she's also a real good player. I just can't and won't keep my hands off of her, even as she gets around. So small, yet so where is she now? Intrusion? More like intrusion of my human rights. Let's get this little lady transformed so we can
Get these fucking titties out of my face!
A smooth and simple transformation gives us this sleek and sensual car mode. The shimmering metallic paintwork does a great job at highlighting all those corners and curves. So attractive. But not in that way. I'm not attracted to cars in that way. How would that even work? It would have to be through the tailpipe, right? You need a fat wiener to feel anything from that, goddamn. And I thought the other RC car modes looked fast. This little beauty looks fast enough to outrun your mistakes. I'm impressed and relieved that the robot mode is so well integrated here. You could barely even see that shameless little slut. You know what? Human anatomy has no place on a giant robot. All it does is confuse and distract us from this clearly superior vehicle mode. Matter of fact, the robot mode absolutely sucks, and anyone who likes it is just horny! Horny! I don't need this shit at all. I never needed it. I never needed you. I don't need 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 you. No. The car has a pussy.
Give your meat a good old rub.
And from the kibble, you can see that the back of the car is the robot mode's crotch. Thank God Ocular Max's designers aren't sexually repressed psychopaths. It would have been very confusing to have a car with a pussy.